Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the talk show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the indigenous one. And as we move closer to a new earth, a new way of looking at things, because as everyone can tell, the old way is dying. What we thought life was and what we thought is no more that way. It's no longer that way. So we're moving into a new world and a new way of looking at things. And we're going to have to come into reality. And the reality is, are we going to just keep being part of this dead creature that we act like we can't live without? Or are we going to be the people that we're destined to be? It's either or. Can't sit on the fence no more. You're going to go ahead and be with this artificial intelligence. You're going to either be with that or you're going to be with nature. But what I wanted to share today is something that will kind of hook you into that. And there's this book called History of the North American Indians and Their Customs. And the title goes for about another 80 words. And what they're doing, they're describing the people that they met. And I'm sharing this, and this is because the reason why. Either we're going to go with this artificial intelligence, or the people are going to get with nature. They're going to connect with who they really are. Because all this that you see, they're artificial people. Come on, you're going to have to realize it, because you're going to have to separate yourself from it. Either you're going to be in it or you're not. It's just that simple. That's where we're at now. It's like the doctor tells everybody, oh, you have to stop smoking, you have cancer. Why are you going to stop now? It ain't going to stop now. I say African Americans ain't Africans because you are the people of this earth. You are the people of America. America is what the world wants. You're just one of the walnuts, blades of grass that it wants. They want you. When they talk about America, they talk about you. Who's the most peaceful, loving people? You. Who make up all these laws that everybody aspire to come to America to be? You. You. So I want to share with you some excerpts from this book. And they're describing that these traders are going through America and they're trading, and they're just noticing the people, how the people are, what the people say, what they look like. And I'm going to give you some of these excerpts and share these with your children, the 5 and 6 year olds. Share it with them. The name of the book is The History of the North American Indians and Their Customs from Mississippi to Virginia. It has all the states in there, but I just said to Virginia. It's Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, up to Virginia. You can get it on Google Books. It's a free read. Those writings back then, you have to remember, you have to check out a dictionary called the Dictionary of American English. And it's called American English because if you just read the first page of this book, you'll see how they write. And it kind of slows you down in reading because you're used to seeing one way, but they spell and do things another way. And that's where American English come in, because we were like, why would you say it like that? You know? And these people make that observation as they're watching us. So I'm gonna share some of the things that they say about the Indian. And you just think in your mind, who does that sound like to you? Just who are they talking about? Because remember, we're not, our identity changes so much. You know, they even trying to go back and call Frederick Douglass an African American when himself had never heard the term. He didn't, that's what we do. That's that artificial intelligence. It's running the African American community, big lock, stock, and barrel. Come on. So I want to share some of these things with you. You know, just a few of them. I have like 4 pages written down, but I won't go that far. And check out what these people are saying about the indigenous people of America. They say the Indians are of a copper or red clay color. Who does that sound like? Now, I know for years we have been used to calling ourselves black, whatever somebody tell us to call ourselves. But in this book, they say how the people prided themselves on they weren't black. They thought black was a devil. Can you see it? Can you see how the mind trick was played on us? They get you to use their language, speak their language, and speak upon yourself that benefits them. We're in 2020 and probably less than 1% of the population understands that. They delight in everything. They delight in everything. They were cool with everything. Everything was cool. It wasn't no always bad news, breaking news. It wasn't none of that. This is how the indigenous people of America was living independent of the European. They delighted in everything. They are favorable to themselves. They're favorable to themselves. They like themselves. They look at themselves as something special. Probably the most special thing. Have pride in themselves. They view themselves through flattering glasses. Who does that sound like? They're describing the people that they were trading with. Sometimes they would notice that when they talked to them, that there was a miscommunication. Well, it really wasn't a miscommunication because these people were coming from different lands talking to people who were here and they didn't, get the understand the language. So it took time for them to understand what the people were saying. And the Europeans would say something, and your great 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 grandfathers, your great 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 grandmothers would look at them like that. That's why would you do that? And that's all the way throughout. These guys travels meeting these guys. The people here were distinct and separate people from everybody in the world. Well, no, they're not from China. They're not European. They're not African. Who are these people? This is what these people found, and they found you. They found your great 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 grandmama. They found your great great grandfather, great 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 grandfather. This book was written in 1750s. So that's not too long ago when you look at time, and that's another one of the things that the people, how they looked at stuff, how they saw stuff. They didn't look at time as how you look at it now. That's why they were living 150 years old. They weren't under the stresses that their sons and daughters see. Why to this day, everybody wants to come to America? Because of you. Now, I know many of you think everything else. I'm talking about the people who are from the soil here. I'm talking about when America created people for a certain landmass, they created you. Explain that. Now, I know many of you swam over from Africa. I know. Why does everybody want to be you? How does Kamala Harris, brother and sister, get to where they are pretending to be you? And you cool with it. You don't care. How can all these people that own all these casinos, bringing in all these Negroes, call themselves Indians and make money off of you? Explain that. Somebody, please. Somebody explain that. How was that possible? Said the Indians were pretty liberal with traders. They wasn't tripping. It wasn't I got it good. We take care of each other. Everybody has more than they need. You can have some. It's no biggie. They were liberal with the traders. But they thought as the whites as contemptible, heterogeneous animals. And I guess it was from what the Europeans were doing. The Europeans, how everywhere they go, they gotta try to screw all the women. You know how that goes. The biggest difference for the Indians was not the color of one's skin, it was the customs and different manners of living. They really wasn't tripping off of skin color, they was tripping off of what you did and how you lived and what you did. And if we know all this stuff is coming out now, you know what was going on, what's that, 300 years ago, 250 years ago? That's less than 10 generations, y'all. They're talking about your direct descendants. This is the appearance. This is the appearance of the American Indian. Reddish copper color, strong, well proportioned in body and limbs, active and nimble, and hardy in their own living. Reddish copper color, strong, well proportioned in body and limbs, active and nimble, and hardy in their own way of living. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Hmm? They're describing you, but somebody can come along and tell you you're anything, and you'll just go with it. That's called artificial intelligence. It's becoming a big thing now. The intelligence is something you pick up from your experience. You learn from your experience, not what somebody tells you. You are a part of this. You are a flame off the burning tree of the Most High. I'll put it like that. Not that I, but just giving an example. If there's a fire, you're one of the embers. You're one of the flames. That's how these people saw their relationship with God. They saw something totally different than something that doesn't work. That's why they were always hardy. That's why they were always happy. They were very jealous of the encroachment by the Christians. They were like, who are these people just moving in? The Christians? The Christians just come in and just buffalo their way in on these people's land? That's how they did it. That's what you are. That's what you do every time you say praise the Lord. You saying praise him for that, for dogging you out. And you don't even know it. This is what we do. Strong and comprehensive judgment. Strong and comprehensive judgment. Had to weigh things out. You couldn't just tell them anything. So you have a lot of those in your family. You know those people that most people can't stand because they don't go with everything that's going on. And in most families, that's what they do. They do what the TV tells them to do. Artificial intelligence. That's where the African American is today, right or wrong. Learn nothing through experience. Learn nothing through going through our families, finding our families, who we are, where we come from. And so all you have now is a bunch of people filled with artificial intelligence. Um, a good example of it would be people voting for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Really? And all that information is out there on them and you don't know about it? So don't argue with those people. Just let it go. Back away from them. Back away from them. They've had videos up for years of Joe Biden just being disrespectful to other people's daughters while they were right there. And this the cat you vote for? Really? So that is artificial intelligence. They don't look at what the people have done. They just look at what the people say, and they do what they say. They form surprisingly crafty schemes. They form surprisingly crafty schemes. Who was that? Who was that cat on Martin? Hustle Man? So when you're reading these things, something comes to mind. Who are they talking about? This is what made up their whatever the village was going to do. It was made up of distinguished warrior and old beloved men made the council. They were temperate in eating. They were temperate in eating. They were temperate in eating. They didn't eat a lot. And see, what I'm saying with this is reading about how these folks are, if we read and understood that, damn near half of our problems would be solved. We're into this artificial intelligence. Care how much money you have, all that is, come on. When they drink too much, they're likened to a mad foaming bear. When they drink too much, they are likened to a mad foaming bear. What does that mean? That means you was making your own alcohol before they got here. What happened to it? How come we don't do that not now? Huh? Artificial intelligence stops us from doing that. Ingenious, witty, cunning, very faithful to one's tribe. They despise the Europeans and Christians. They despise the Europeans and Christians. Now, these are some of the things that the Indians taught them. Experience is the best medium to discover truth. Experience is the best medium to discover truth. You have to experience it. You can't have nobody tell you what it is. Why? Because they are apt to lie. You have to experience it yourself. Are we into this artificial intelligence where our TVs tell us what to do? Our telephones tell us what to do? Is that what we into? Earth looks after its own children. These were some of the common thoughts that they were told, the traders were told. Earth looks after its own children. Remember that, because you're going to need that. Earth looks after its own children. If you are not Earth children, it's cool. Do you, boo? If you're not one of Earth's children, if you are not here to be a custodian of the earth, if you're here just to tear it up, just take what you can from it, cut down forests. I mean, dude, damn, why you gonna cut down the oxygen maker? Huh? And this is what we follow. This is what we want to be a part of. This is what we want to send our kids to school to learn to do. For real, cuz? For real? Here they're talking about the women. Check this out. Mild, amiable, soft disposition, modest in their behavior, very seldom nosy, very seldom nosy, single or married. That's the sisters they describe it. How do we change them into not being that? See, that's what these think tanks do. This is what all of this research goes into. How to knock him off so he's nothing of America. When you think America, you don't think of them. You think of us. All these people over here ganging up on you, and you gang up on each other. The men, expert in firearm, shooting the bow or throwing the feathered dart, and will decimate you with a tomahawk. Exceedingly swift of foot, especially in the long chase. They will stretch away through the woods for 200 or 300 miles in pursuit of a flying enemy. Check that out. They would chase you down for 200 to 300 miles. How did he know that? How did he know these people would chase? Because they probably did something. And they was on horseback and brothers ran them down. This is what you used to do before you did what you were doing now. So if you're younger, talk to these older cats, because they be reading stuff like that. They don't do what you do now. Older cats don't really play the Xbox and X games and stuff like that. So when you want to know your history, ask these older cats. You can't be, that's the wrong thing to do. There are no deformed Indians. They, though they are generally weaker and smaller body in the tropics. So that means if you go down to the Caribbean, they're smaller people. You're not going to find a cat like Shaq in the Caribbean. They just not they're not big in population down there, so those people aren't down there. They wore the skin of panthers, bucks, beavers, and otter. Needles were made of fish bone. Always had a fort of hemp that grows spontaneously in rich open lands. Check it out. Always had a fort of hemp that grows spontaneously in rich open lands. They're talking about your great grandfathers. They're talking about your great grandmothers. You see why it's important to tell you that you're something else, so you won't look at what your people did. The name of the book is History of the North American Indians and Their Customs from Mississippi, Georgia, North, South. It's going to say all the states from Mississippi to Virginia. The author is Adair, Adair. You can they have it on Google Books. You can read it on Google Books. I'm just saying the simplest way, and it's right there. History of the North American Indians and Their Customs from Mississippi to Virginia. Check this out. Wearing shorts was effeminate. Wearing shorts was effeminate. How do we get away from that custom? Now, these are customs of the people. These are what the people thought. I mean, surely we can take on the Arab cultures, we can take on Christian customs, we can take on everybody's customs. But when it comes to taking on our own, now we got a problem. A deceitful person was a snake. Several Indian nations assured they crossed the Mississippi. So when you read stuff like that, what is it saying to you? Because everything I said and how I read, I question what they say. You got to. You just can't go along with what somebody say because might be telling you wrong. And the reason I'm reading this to you because they're describing you. They're describing any place you go in America was a whole bunch of us. It's not you in the 2020 avatar, but it's you in the 1750 avatar. Same exact people coming through the same bloodlines. Every year, the Indians noticed that the traders became more and more corrupt in their morals. See, they were checking the people out. Who are these people? And that corruption soon turned on us. And this is how you pick up stuff and you learn stuff. You read what they say about you back in the day. Nobody came over here starting war with you because shit, you can chase somebody down for 200 miles. Why war with that? And now we won't even walk. That's artificial intelligence. Their religious worship consisted of just hanging around fire. And I heard a brother say this, and he said they thought that the fire was God and we were the flames. I was like, damn. Just talking to other brothers who were, finding out their family, because a lot of people, they look up their families. They look up in the bloodlines which they come through. If you're looking at it right, all you're doing is coming through a bloodline. That's all you're doing. You ain't here forever. None of us are here forever. We just passing through. All of us. We just passing through. You ain't here forever. It don't work like that. What are you picking up and what are you dropping off? Because you might come right back. You may not ever come. But when you look at the customs, the religious, the practices, the ideas and thoughts of the indigenous people here, they're an exact match for the African American, Black, Negro, colored. Why do you think all these people are here on you? Why do you think people are moving their families from India? And when I say family, they just don't come with the husband and wife. They come with the husband, wife, her brother and his wife, his brother and his wife, and 2 kids, mama and daddy on their side. They come with a crew. They're here to replace you. How don't you see it? They're over here doing things in America that they wouldn't dare do in their country, pissing in your face, and you just got your mouth open. That's what they doing to you. You can't go over to in China and do what the Chinese are doing here. You can't go over to Africa and do to the Africans what you're doing here. But anybody come here and you just treat them like you treat them better than Jesus. There was no idolatry. They wasn't into that worship thing. There was no idolatry. They thought your moral character was better than how you looked, your appearance, your moral character. Your moral character. Would you do the right thing? So, and find out information and because you're the same people, just the times have changed. Same people, the times have changed. Now, around that time, there was an abundance of us. Abundance. So now we've been reduced from that number. And it's not just through natural deaths or natural selection or whatnot. Those people back there wasn't calling themselves Greeks. Those people back in the 1750s wasn't Christians. Those people in the 1750s wasn't Muslim. Are you serious? Those people in the 1750s wasn't Hebrew Israelites. They were you. They had a whole way of doing things like people in other countries do. They have a culture. The hell was one hair? Why do you think they were trading? They seen what you had and wanted it all to themselves, and then told the rest of the world, you got to see this shit. And here they are. And you get dogged out, made an ass out of. That has to be the biggest somebody making an ass out of you in a long time. That Kamala Harris thing. This woman comes in through sisters pretending to be Greek. Check out, this is how the Negro is done at every turn. This chick and her brother come over here pretending to be you. Get put through med school and whatever school she's in, I don't know. But that lets you know what that education does. It corrupts you. And now the sisters are mad because she was put in line ahead of a whole bunch of sisters who have been here since 1906, whatever they say. But why are you mad? You the one who made it happen. You the one who let her in. If they would have known who they were, that wouldn't have happened. So, artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence is what you thought was going on. Ain't all that prosperity pimping, all that ain't going on no more. It's out the window. There's a new reality upon us. We're going to have to live with nature or live against it. And there was an old saying when I was growing up. And the saying was, you can't fuck with Mother Nature. We'll see you next time. Peace.